Good evening and welcome to Hungry Britain. I'm Rick Biffle.
And I'm Heather Carroll. And tonight we're giving it up for food banks on behalf of the Trussell Trust campaign. 1 in 5 people in the UK live below the poverty line. That's just over 13.5 million people that are struggling to provide for themselves and their families. And with food, fuel and utility bills continuing to increase, more and more families are having to make a decision that no one should ever have to make. A decision between eating or heating.
This is where food banks comes in. The Trussell Trust has been operating in the UK for almost 10 years, providing low-income families with essential food items that a lot of us take for granted. This organisation could not have been made possible without the contributions of kind-hearted volunteers who go the extra mile to allow these places to exist. New food banks are developing nationwide on an average of 3 per week, and as they develop, the need for volunteers and donators is increasing. To tell us more about volunteering and how to get involved is Salford Central Food Bank volunteers Anne McWilliam and Scott Tulloch.
Hi, thank you for joining us.
So first of all, what exactly is a food bank?
Well, it exists in a local community and is run by a local church or churches to provide food for people who are in some sort of a crisis, often caused by something like delays in benefits or benefit changes. Each session provides 3 days food for the person and their family, if that's the case. And it consists of things like tins and packets so that it's food that they can take home and prepare for themselves.
So how did you both get involved in the food banks?
Well, I got involved because I previously used another social action service operated by the church, which was Christians Against Poverty. And then from then on, I got myself involved with Food Bank on a regular basis.
And I'd retired recently. My husband and I had just moved up to Manchester, heard that the church we were joining ran a food bank and really wanted to get involved in that. So we've both been involved in it right since its beginning, which was in November 2012.
And what does volunteering consist of? What do you actually do on a day-to-day basis?
Different volunteers do different things. We have a distribution centre where the clients can come in and receive the food parcels, get a little bit of advice and talk to someone. There's also volunteering at food collection points, be it supermarkets, warehouse work, and then we've got quite a lot of administration background volunteers who do things like coordinating with supermarkets, sorting out the budgets, etc.
So how many volunteers do you have?
I think we've got 36 trained volunteers at the moment. There's about 18 or so of those are working in the distribution centre, and other people are helping with things like warehouse and food collections.
And on average, how many of these vouchers that have to be presented and able to receive the benefits, how many of these vouchers do you receive a week?
Well, it's interesting because up till September, it was about 12 vouchers per week on average, whereas in October, it suddenly went up to 17 on average per week and seems to have sustained at that level. So it's increasing all the time.
In your food parcels, what would somebody receive? Say it was a single man, what would a single man receive?
They would receive 3 days worth of nutritional food, and that's the key, nutritional food. So we're talking vegetables, fruit, pasta or rice, tea, coffee, milk, cereal. It's not a great amount, but it's certainly enough.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea of roughly how many people you've actually helped in the process so far?
According to our database this morning, it's 1,700 people.
Brilliant.
And I think that divides up into about 1,000 adults and 700 children. That's since we started, which is just over the year.
Yeah. So if somebody tonight was to give some money for where would this funding go? What does it help?
Well, obviously, it can help to some extent to provide food in terms of us topping up our donations. But more than that, we're actually saving at the moment to be able to appoint a project manager. At the moment, everybody who works on the project is a volunteer, and those who are managing it also have full-time jobs. And so we really could do with somebody who has at least some time in the week that they can devote totally to the food bank.
How can people donate should they want to? How is that easy?
Well, we do central food bank collections at local supermarkets, which are supported by Trussell Trust, where people can come along and buy an extra couple of items and put them in. But we'll accept donations from anyone in regards to food. The food banks are open, as we've mentioned, twice a week. We'll happily take food then. We're fortunate that it's also based at our church office, so there is someone normally there 5 days a week to be able to receive food as well.
And that's 365 days a year?
Well, we're not there on Christmas Day.
I think you can blame me. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much both for your time, and thank you for coming in this evening. It's been really helpful. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
If, like Anne and Scott, you want to do your bit and help giving up for food banks, here is how you at home can join in. If you want to donate to the Trussell Trust, please text FBUK13 plus the amount you want to donate to 70070. Or, for further information on how you can get involved, visit www.trusselltrust.org/donate.
Big or small, every contribution towards Trussell Trust goes a long way. There are a number of ways to raise money towards the campaign, whether it's with a friend, with family, workmates, whatever you choose to do. Fundraising is a crucial part of food banks' development, and without support and goodwill of people just like you, many more of the British public would have gone hungry.
Yes, that's right, Rick. Thanks to the likes of Robert Stevie and Linda Robson, who between them raised nearly £5,000 taking part in events such as skydives, fun runs, quiz nights and benefit gigs. This has helped to transform the lives of hundreds of adults and children, providing them with the care and support they've so desperately needed. For additional examples of how you can fundraise and suggestions on how you can raise money, please check out Trussell Trust's fundraising pack, which is jam-packed with fun, charitable ideas and events you can participate in.
All of which can be accessible on the website and available to download free of charge. Locations nationwide are jumping on the Give It Up for Food Banks bandwagon, bringing in groups of people for fun, food and music. Which is exactly what was in store for visitors of Manchester's Ruby Lounge, who arranged for a variety of talented individuals to come and perform for the day, with all proceeds raising going to their local food bank. People turned up for the day to see the likes of Snow Apple, Louis Barabbas, local Manchester band, the Lottery Winners, and in Spiral Carpet's lead vocalist, Tom Hingley.
Like an artifact in the company your ambition. There was something in my condition. I made love a little more. You had me squeezed for at least the last 2 years of marriage. The summer's taken advantage when you're blind and what was in store.
I thought the event itself was fantastic. Weren't expecting how good it was, in fact. I mean, you had Tom Hinkley on first, formerly in Spiral Carpets, knew a lot about him, and he was always going to be great. But then you had Snow Apple, this band over from Holland. Weren't expecting much from them, and they were amazing. They, really, really out there, really energetic performance, using the mic leads for skipping ropes and all sorts. And then there was Louis Barabbas, who he's always value for money, playing about with the kids, having a laugh with the kids, running around like a lunatic up and down the place. Then he finished off with the Lottery Winners. They were a good set of lads. I've met them before. They were very, very nice people. So then they all jumped on stage together at the end for a cracking couple of tunes. So £3 and a few tins of food, more than value for money. You wouldn't get that anywhere else. We got in there, and then there was already food laid out. But then everyone who came through the door, they would figure out where am I putting my stuff, and then all of a sudden this food piled up and piled up and piled up, and there was a mountain of it. Loads of kids, loads of families. It was a really, really good atmosphere, really nice atmosphere. At times like these, with economic circumstances being what they is, with people not getting as much help from the government as they probably should be getting, it's up to people to start pooling together and helping each other out if we can. I think it's a really, really important thing that they're doing.
What a turnout that was.
It was. And thank you to everybody that was involved. You all helped make such a difference. And those contributions will have made so many people happy. Our next guest was an attendee of this event, and he and himself and his friends will be speaking with us very shortly. First of all, we'd like you at home to think about the people you know around you.
Whether it be your colleagues, your neighbours, your friends at home, even family members, how would you feel if they came to you in times of need? If an unexpected payment came out that they were unable to pay, they were suddenly made redundant from their job, or found out that they were no longer eligible for benefits they so crucially relied on. Well, the chances are these scenarios are quite likely happening all around you, but people are too ashamed or embarrassed to speak up.
Awareness needs to be raised on these issues, which is why it's so important that people are familiar with the Trussell Trust charity and the support it can provide. The concept of hidden hunger is developing across Britain more and more, but with the help of food banks and increasing establishment of them, we intend to put an end to the mass numbers of people going home to empty cupboards.
To tell us more about how food banks have become more established and how he himself came about the Trussell Trust is project manager of the first ever student-run Manchester Food Bank, Joey Ferrigno. Hi Joey, thank you for joining
Joey,
us.
thanks for joining us. So tell us, how did the first UK student-run food bank get started?
So it was started by a student volunteer group called the St. Vincent de Paul Society. We are based in the university's Catholic chaplaincy, which serves all the universities in Manchester. And what we did is we ran weekly soup runs for the homeless, where we went onto the streets of Manchester, gave out hot food, hot drinks, and company to people that we found. And what we saw over about 6 months was an increase in the number of newly made homeless. So we looked around to see how can we stop more and more people falling into this terrible situation.
So is that how you first found out about food banks at the church?
Absolutely. At the church and at all our involvement at local charities, we found out about these projects and how it was spreading out throughout the country. But we realized that there was not one based in Manchester. And there's much need for this. So we decided to establish one where we are based.
So that's where your inspiration came from going out
Absolutely.
into the streets.
And where do you see the future going? What holds in store? What's the aim long term?
Well, everyone always says the first aim of a food bank is to put itself out of business. An ideal day would be when no one comes through the doors.
Sure.
But our aim, of course, is to provide relief to the poverty that is present in Manchester, that everyone recognizes. And our aim is just to provide emergency loans of food, provide comfort to people who find themselves in this crisis, and hopefully leave them in a better situation than when they arrive at our food bank.
So how many students do you have involved?
At the moment, we have about 40 students on board, and they do a wide variety of tasks, from distributing the food itself, to helping sort it, to helping fundraise both food and money for our project.
And tell me more about the fundraising. How can people donate, or how do you get the message out there so people can fundraise?
Well, we accept food donations Monday to Friday in the Holy Name Church on Oxford Road, as well as at the Catholic chaplaincy located next door.
Brilliant.
We get the message out through a series of awareness events. We always put up posters around the universities, hand out flyers. And we also have a very active online presence to try and get the message as widespread as possible.
So is that how you've developed the food bank? You've now brought it into the social media, would you say?
Absolutely. It is an ideal way to get in touch with certain organizations. People have actually contacted us through Facebook and Twitter who we would not have met the traditional ways. And it has been very helpful in allowing us to spread awareness that we are now open for business.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter and Facebook must be a really, really, really helpful tool for you guys. But what challenges have you guys faced? Have you had any sort of, obviously not negativity, but are there barriers to people finding out more?
There are always barriers. I think mostly it's the lack of knowledge about what a food bank is. And because it's such a new concept to Britain, never before have we needed food banks. So it's about educating people, getting to know exactly what the food bank is, the organization, the way that it runs, how people refer to us need vouchers and things like that. And it's very important to educate people about that.
Sure.
How many people do you think you've helped with the food bank?
We've only been open for 2 months now, but we've managed to help over 70 people. And we've distributed around 600 kilograms of food to both families and individuals.
I mean, Christmas is coming up now. It must be a busy time for you guys. Do you see a seasonality difference?
Absolutely. Christmas is always a very busy period. Not only as it's a very cold end of year, people are paying more for heating, bills are going up.
Sure.
But also a lot of agencies and charities that would otherwise help these people close down for a week or two over Christmas.
Yeah.
So this year we're making sure that our food bank is open throughout the Christmas holidays.
Will you be open on Christmas Day?
We will not be open on Christmas Day, but we will be open the days around Christmas Day, Christmas Eve and Boxing Day.
And what does 2014 hold for you and the organisation?
Well, what we hope to do is to open up a new distribution centre located in Longsight, an area adjacent to where we're based. And we also hope to eventually be open every day of the week.
Brilliant, thank you very much. So if people want to donate this evening, how can they help?
Well, what they can do is they can either come along to a local supermarket that we're based in and donate food into a hamper there, or they can donate money to ourselves or to your campaign. Anything, small or large, is greatly appreciated.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time this evening. Thanks for coming in, Jerry. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, as you can tell, food banks are being open to help those who truly need it. People like Joey and the countless numbers of volunteers who work at food banks across the UK are helping to aid low-income families not being able to afford basic food.
Through the money raised so far and the increase in numbers of volunteers in the last year alone, the Trussell Trust have helped to feed nearly 347,000 people across the UK and close to 900,000 since the charity began. For their continuous hard work and effort in fighting food poverty, the Trussell Trust won Britain's Most Admired Charity of 2013 from a third sector organisation. Due to its success and rising establishment, the Trust can carry on providing emergency relief to those who need it most.
But for that to happen, we really do need your donations, however small they may be. You can do this by getting your phone out and texting FBUK13 plus the amount you want to donate to 70070. You can find out more about donating and getting involved by logging onto their website, and this is www.trusselltrust.org/donate. Of course, you can join the conversation on Twitter like a lot of you have been doing already by following @TrussellTrust. And remember to keep hashtagging Give It Up for Food Banks.
Admitting you need help is hard, with money being tight and the social pressures of consumerism in Britain today. It is often difficult to simply open up and admit, I can't afford this. So what would you do if someone did find the courage to come to you? How would you handle it? To tell us more about her story of being approached by a food bank user, how it affected her and what she did to help a silent sufferer, is Height General Practice Medical Receptionist Holly Walsh and Assistant Manager Emily Dalton. Hi girls, thank you.
Good evening, Holly, Emma. Thanks for joining us. So, can you tell us a bit about your first experience of being approached by somebody who was in a crisis?
Yeah, it was actually one of our patients, and he unfortunately lost his job, and his wife left him around the same time, left him with the 2 children. So at the time, obviously due to losing his job, he had no means of, he was in a financial difficulty, where it actually got to the point where he was only able to feed his children, so he actually was only eating, he'd informed us he was only eating on Wednesdays and Sundays through the week because it was more crucial for him to make sure that his children were fed every day.
Wow.
So what did he say to you when he came to you?
Well, obviously that was a consultation with the GP,
Okay.
who then requested, is there anything that we could do for this patient of ours? And obviously that's when the food bank came into play. So we just passed Emily's details over to the food bank. They were in touch with Emily with regards to how they could help
Sure.
us.
I mean, how does that kind of conversation make you feel? Because that must be horrible to have to sit and listen to.
Yeah, I mean, it is upsetting, but obviously the option of knowing that we're doing something to benefit people in our community that aren't sort of as well off as the rest of us, it's just such a massive, just to know that you're making a difference.
Did it help open your eyes up? I mean, the things you could recommend to him. So now, do you know more about food banks than you did before, perhaps? Or?
Certainly, but I mean, they forward you most of the details, didn't they?
Yeah.
And
They sent me a list of vouchers that we could forward onto the GPs, and they would hand out to anyone who they thought needed the help and support of a food bank. So that's worked really well. We've used that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So the food bank work, it really is, it's invaluable stuff really, isn't it? It's fascinating how
yeah.
so many people don't know anything about it. I mean, how do you spread that word? Is there an easy way of getting that message out there, or is it difficult because people, they don't want to hear in this day and age?
Well, it can be difficult, but at the Heights where we're based, Holly's created a notice board in reception. We've tried to put it out on our practice leaflets and obviously spread the word within our practice to the patients, and they love the idea, they think it's amazing, and they love helping the community, so it's worked really well for us.
Is this what's really pushed you to creating your own food bank now?
Yeah, definitely. Well, because at SSP we think it's really important to obviously give back to the patients in the community and help people who are less fortunate than we are. And at the Height, we've got our patients are very family based, they all know each other around the area, so they just love the idea of being able to help everybody.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Obviously, with Christmas coming up, this must be a busy time for the pair of you. What extra work has to happen around Christmas?
Obviously, we're just pushing the promotion of it, but it is actually was surprising to us because at the time when we first found out about the food bank, we weren't much aware of it. But obviously now with the promotions we've been put out and everything at the surgery, we're actually quite surprised to find out how many patients were aware of the food banks, and obviously because it is getting to Christmas now, we've had a lot of donations, haven't we, over the past couple of weeks. Yeah, so
Brilliant, brilliant. And how many volunteers, I mean, do you know any numbers off the top of your head in terms of how many volunteers you have week by week or month by month? Do you have a rough number?
it's different every week, isn't it?
Yeah, it's difficult to say, but a lot of patients, it's always different ones. It's never just the same people. They'll just come in and see the advertisements that we've put out, and they'll come in and bring bags full of food in, and they just think it's great.
Do you feel like it's bringing the community together a bit more? It sounds
Definitely,
like it is,
yeah.
everybody's
Definitely.
pitching
Yeah.
in.
Definitely, yeah. It's nice to see
Yeah.
that everyone's working together as a community to help those who obviously aren't as fortunate as some of us are. So
Have you had any more people come to you since that first man, now that you've got promotions and things like that? Or
well, because it's displayed now, I think obviously people weren't as aware of it as we weren't aware of it. But obviously now it's displayed, I think they feel that they can approach the food bank directly rather than always have to go
Come
through
through you.
ourselves. I think a lot of people like to keep to themselves about it if they are in that sort of struggle. So it's just nice that we've got the stuff
Brilliant.
displayed. So
Well, thank you very much. So what's next for 2014?
well,
Just going to
hopefully-
keep pushing
All
it
the
as,
same.
as much as we
Yeah.
can. Hopefully we'll get the word out more and more people will donate.
Brilliant. Well, all the
Yeah.
best and
thank
to
you very
both.
much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. We do hope that you've learnt a lot from tonight, that it has inspired you, the viewers at home, and has helped us all to realise how remarkable the food bank organisation is and the impact these hard-working, kind-hearted individuals have made to help those less fortunate than themselves. Thank you all for watching and donating. The response we've had has been, well, it's been overwhelming.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop there. As well as text donations, we've had lots of texts and tweets coming in. Thank you so much for those. Have we got anything you can read out?
Yep, we've got Rob from Grimsby tweeted, "It's simply a must for anyone with a social conscience." Steve from Northampton said, "You're providing a wonderful and necessary service, keep donating." And John from Southend said, "Great organisation, a practical solution to a real problem."
Hungry Britain is aiming to make as much of a difference as it can to help tackle food poverty, but unfortunately the demand goes on and the numbers of people going hungry are still increasing. Hundreds of people are still out there completely unaware of what is happening around them, and the issues are still going on unheard of.
As food poverty increases, the number of volunteers are growing, and it won't be long before there is a new food bank opening in every town across the country. Continuing to spread the word really is our social responsibility. Giving back just a little bit to our community can go such a long way. So head down to your local food bank and donate some food. Plan a fundraising event. Give it up for food banks. Thank you and good night.